Ah, yes, The Matrix. I saw the 25th anniversary screening at my local cinema last week, and it prompted all sorts of personal, career, Hollywood reflections. It made a huge impact on me in 1999, and to this day, it's still firmly in my top 10 favourite films of all time, and it might very well be in the number one spot. I appreciate some of you watching may have only seen The Matrix for the first time recently, and I hope you enjoyed it. Context is important, and I honestly think you're at a disadvantage seeing it for the first time now instead of back in 1999. Back in 1999, I was just starting my adolescence. DVDs and spots were just coming in. In fact, The Matrix and The Matrix Revisited were huge sellers. The internet was just dial-up, and trailers were tiny flash files. Very little was known about the film. The awesomely edited trailer showed glimpses of people doing impossible things, leaping off buildings, dodging bullets, that genuinely had never been seen before. Morpheus's voiceover insisting that no one can be told what The Matrix is, you have to see it for yourself, was utter genius. So I was pretty hyped about seeing this film, but I was underage at the time. I remember distinctly going to the local cinema in Plymouth with my dad and the option of Brendan Fraser's The Mummy rated 12 or The Matrix rated 15. I was prepared to see The Mummy, but I managed to sneak in to see The Matrix instead. Like seeing Terminator 2 on VHS for the first time, seeing The Matrix in the cinema for the first time at 12 years old was pure cinematic joy and a rite of passage I will never forget. Trinity's opening fight, where she hangs in the air for 5 seconds, wowed my formative brain, and I was gobsmacked until the end. I emerged out in a state of shock, overloaded with incredible visuals and fights and ideas. 1999 was 1 year before the millennium. The mention of AI then seemed quite distant, whereas now the threat of AI feels very real. The Matrix was released on the 31st of March 1999, and the plot follows Thomas Anderson, a hacker known as Neo, who discovers that reality as he knows it is a simulated world created by intelligent machines to control the human population. He joins a group of rebels led by Morpheus and learns about the true nature of the Matrix. Neo is believed to be the one, a prophesied figure who will free humanity. As he learns to manipulate the Matrix to his will, Neo battles against the machine's agents, particularly Agent Smith. The film was a critical and commercial success, grossing over $466 million worldwide against a budget of $63 million. Its groundbreaking visual effects and innovative storytelling made it a cultural phenomenon. The impact of The Matrix was huge. It inspired me to seek a career in film, for better or worse. Mostly for worse, as it turns out, but I'm still influenced by concepts, striking visuals and slow motion to this day. It motivated me to check the Wachowskis' acknowledged sources of inspiration, like John Woo's movies. I also got a Nokia 3310. I couldn't afford the 7210 or get it, but I added a custom click-out case to my phone. I bought the soundtrack, posters, figures. It was also one of the first soundtracks I ever bought, and the song Clubbed to Death by Rob Dougan still encapsulates The Matrix perfectly. The fights choreographed by Yuen Woo-ping brought regular wirework more into mainstream movie making. Dodging bullets became a meme in Scary Movie, Bulletproof Monk, Wanted, and wirework fights started appearing in all sorts of films. Instead of heavy-handed messages and gender politics, The Matrix explored philosophical ideas of choice, reality that were left for the viewer to decide. And Wachowskis themselves have declined to do in-depth commentaries to this day, preferring audience interpretation. One thing that irked me about the screening recently was the irritating blue filter that Warner Brothers have indiscriminately placed across it. The whole point of the original colour design was there was a green tint for any Matrix scenes, whereas in this new version, the blue filter is across everything, which kind of muddies that intention. Trinity is a strong yet vulnerable female character without the frequent man-bashing of cinema today. And in fact, Switch, the Oracle are all formidable female characters in their own right. Before Mr. Anderson, blue and red pill choices became memes, The Matrix was an original IP script that execs couldn't understand or were too afraid to make. Fortunately, Joel Silver, a famous Hollywood producer, saw its potential and produced it, starring Keanu Reeves at a time when Johnny Mnemonic had just bombed and other big names had turned it down. The Matrix is a powerful example of when taking risks pay off big, pushing technical and philosophical boundaries. And to me, it's what cinema is about. It's about spectacle, it's about ideas, it's about seeing impossible things come to life. Inevitably, sequels followed. The Matrix Reloaded arrived amidst huge hype for pushing the bar so high there is no bar. Again, I saw this in the cinema with a packed audience. The burly brawl with multiplying Agent Smiths and the extended freeway chase got cheers from a British audience who aren't normally particularly vocal in the cinema. I remember looking at my watch throughout because I didn't want it to end. The Matrix Reloaded was released on May 15, 2003 and follows Neo's continuing fight against the machines. The sequel outperformed the original, grossing over $742 million worldwide, Despite mixed critical reception compared to its predecessor, it was praised for its action sequences and visual effects. Then Matrix Revolutions was released 6 months later, November 5th, 2003, and concludes the trilogy with a final battle between humans and machines. This film grossed over $427 million worldwide. Although it didn't match the financial success of Reloaded, it was notable for concluding the ambitious narrative and its impressive special effects. Critics had mixed reactions, particularly to the film's ending and philosophical overtones. Matrix Revolutions is for me the weakest of the three, but I loved the scene in nightclub fights, the super brawl in the rain, and it did feel more like a war movie. Again, worth noting here the scale of the hype, the 2-part release strategy, the tie-in Animatrix DVD, which is consisting of mostly excellent animated shorts, and the release of Enter the Matrix game following 2 sub-characters, Niobe and Ghost, that played parallel to the main narrative. The ambition and logistical and narrative complexity of Warner Brothers pulling this all off was genuinely amazing, and it's event cinema at its finest across different media. Total gross for the Matrix trilogy is over $1.635 billion worldwide and had a huge significant cultural impact, pioneering special effects techniques and raising philosophical questions about reality, free will and control. Despite varying critical receptions, it remains a landmark in science fiction cinema. It's not a perfect trilogy, the first one still being by far the best, but it is one of my favourite trilogies, and I enjoyed spending more hours in the worlds that the Wachowskis created. Other people have Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. For me, my trilogy is The Matrix. Things have been a bit up and down with the Wachowskis ever since, producing V for Vendetta, which is very good. Others like Cloud Atlas and Speed Racer are mixed bags, and the less said about Jupiter Ascending the better. So you can imagine my deeply confused reaction to The Matrix Resurrections, and I can do a whole video about that. I genuinely thought the story was done with The Matrix Revolutions, but reflected that perhaps Neo could be brought back by the machine somehow, and with AI more commonplace and huge advances in visual effects and self-awareness, could be just what we needed. Suffice to say, I was crushingly disappointed and actually left the theatre angry, and I still don't own it on DVD. An adolescent me would have thought this impossible that I wouldn't want to own a 4th Matrix movie. The Matrix Resurrections felt cynical, looked like a cheap TV movie, there were unexceptional set pieces and fights, and literally revisiting moments from the first film had some potential, and the machines using bullet times against him was a nice idea. I did like the on-the-nose scene about Warner Brothers, and it was actually true. They did ask every year for the Wachowskis to make another one, and we're going to proceed with or without them. Resurrections, however, bombed, the first in the film series to do so, and now allegedly Drew Goddard is penning a new sequel. I won't hold my breath, but if it's to be any good, it needs to push technological and philosophical boundaries in new directions, not regurgitate the same as what has happened before. Or perhaps there could be a faithful Matrix game using all the amazing game engines we now have. Who knows? And rumours are Lana Wachowski intended to bury the franchise as an indictment on Hollywood itself. And so there, it did succeed in that aim with The Matrix Resurrections, sadly. If you like The Matrix, I recommend buying the Art of the Matrix book, and also the comics for more insight into the world building and production process. So if a new sequel is being made, or it was the end, sometimes the first time round really is the best it can ever get. The Matrix remains a lean, groundbreaking, thought-provoking science fiction thriller made with passion and ambition that has cemented its status as a classic that only gets better with age. And if only today's Hollywood can be as bold. To the Wachowskis and Joel Silver for taking risks back in 1999, thank you. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe so I can keep making more videos, and let me know your thoughts on The Matrix and The Matrix trilogy and what you think the future of the franchise holds.